lot of you probably think, well, that's definitely not enough followers to be making consistent sales, right? Wrong. You actually don't need that many followers. It's more about the quality of your followers and attracting customers than it is about the number of followers you have. Small business owners, I totally understand and feel your struggle. I'm still going through the same growing pains that you guys are going through right now. The only difference is that I have spent about a year trialing different methods and tactics to turning my Instagram page into like a money-making machine for my businesses. And I'm sharing with you the ones that actually work so that hopefully you don't have to go and make the same mistakes I did and lose a bunch of time and money trialing methods which aren't effective. I remember when I first started my brands and I started my Instagram channel, and in my head I was like, I need a lot of followers, otherwise no one's gonna trust my brand. I just had that in my head. So I spent a lot of time just being like, I just need followers. It doesn't matter who they are, I just need followers, because then people are gonna land on my page and they're gonna think, oh, that's a legitimate brand because they've got tens of thousands of followers. However, I quickly realized that that is not the case, and that's not actually how the world works. Whilst a lot of followers can give you credibility, unfortunately, it can also do the opposite effect to you, and it can actually devalue your brand. If you have, just think about it this way, right? If you've got a brand and you have spent no time improving your content, you have spent no time, working on the different things which improve your engagement for your channel, and instead you've just bought a ton of followers, what you think you've done is purchased like credibility, right? So you think, it doesn't matter that I've not spent loads of time on my content and that I've not nailed down my strategy, because now that I've got so many followers, people are going to trust my brand anyway. Wrong. If anything, people will be turned off by your brand and not trust it at all. Because you've not spent any time working on your strategy, people can see that. It's obvious. And if someone lands on an Instagram page and they just think this page is a bit of a mess, I don't get their content, I'm not clear on what they're selling, but yet somehow they have 50,000 followers, that is alarm bells will immediately sound off in their minds. Like, consumers are so clever. Like, they will immediately think something's not right here, I don't trust it. So that's not what you want to do. Instead, having a page where you don't have as many followers, it's quite small, but you've got good content and you're growing at a steady pace, that is far more trustworthy and that is far more likely to translate to sales. Okay, so the tip that I'm going to give you is a bit of a basic upfront one, but I feel like I have to say it, otherwise this video is not correct if I've not discussed this topic. So you have to make sure that your profile is optimized, shall we say. And by that I mean, look at your bio, look at your profile photo, look at your highlights. Are they all correct, and are they giving off the right vibe and information about your brand? So if you are a product-based business, do you have Instagram shopping set up on your brand? Do you have, is your Instagram channel named after your brand? I've actually got a video on picking a business name if you're at that stage and you need some help, so I recommend checking that out. I'll link to it up here. Is your profile photo of your logo, and is that logo clear? Do you have your URL linked in your bio, an obvious one? Do you have your USP, such as your unique selling point? Is that clearly linked in your bio? Things like that, which you have to just think, when someone lands on your page, they need to know exactly what it is that you sell, what it is that your brand is called, and how they can shop your products. So if you follow those three things, those three guiding principles, and ensure that your bio and your page clearly communicates each of those three things, then your page will be fairly optimized. And that means that we can move on to some of the other parts and more complicated strategies that I use in order to make sales on my Instagram. So one of the main tips I want to give you, and one of the main things I want to discuss, is to really think about what your key content pillars are. So what I mean by content pillars are basically groups of different kinds of content that you want to be consistently pushing out on your channel. So for example, if we look at Raya London, I have a few different content pillars. So one pillar is kind of the aesthetic content. So these are your interim posts, which I get from different sources, different Instagram pages, sometimes from Pinterest. And the whole purpose of these posts is that it helps tie your entire page together and gives off this really great cohesive theme or vibe to your page. Another pillar that I have is my influencer photos. So I kind of alluded to this before. This is such an important part of your content. And I'm actually going to talk about that in a bit more detail in a second. But what I like to do is ensure that every other or every few photos, I'm using an influencer photo. And the reason why, as I mentioned before, is because influencer photos do a great job at showing potential customers what my products look like on, you know, that's the kind of stuff what people want to see. So therefore, including that in my mix and as one of my content pillars is also really, really successful strategy for me. The third content pillar that I have, which is more of an emerging trend, which I've recently started to trial, is sharing quotes. And the reason why I feel like these are so important and why they're really helping me is because quotes are shareable content, right? So it's not, you know, an influencer pic, which some random stranger is probably not going to reshare or put on their stories. Quotes are something which could be applicable to anyone and which could be shared by anyone. And when someone shares your post, you are allowing several hundred, several thousand more people to see your content, right? You're massively improving your reach, which is why incorporating some form of shareable content into your content strategy for Instagram is really, really important. And then the last content pillar that I have is product shots. So these are shots that I've taken myself and they only feature the product. So they are completely focusing on my bag or my bikini. I don't tend to use huge amounts of these, but you know, I use them on occasion and I like to throw them in the mix. So those are my key 4 content pillars. So that every single time I post, I am posting one of those things. And what that means is that I'm able to consistently hit those 4 key content pillars because each of those content pillars do their own thing and have their own job. And also it means that all of my content is really streamlined and it all has a focus. So it basically just helps me tie the entire page together. So another tip kind of links into what I was just talking about, and that is all about product proof. So what I mean by product proof is basically, if you imagine, right, you're on Instagram, you're scrolling away, you see a post from a new brand on your explore page, right? You click on that post and you look at that Instagram page's content and you think, oh, okay, they sell dresses. I really like these dresses. I really want to get one. I'm a bit worried though, like I don't know this brand very well. I'm not familiar with their products. Like I hope they're legit. Oh, I know what I'll do. I'll look at their content, see if they've got any photos of their customers using their products. I'll look on their tagged images. You know, has anyone ever tagged their products? If you do all of those steps and you realize like, okay, so this brand isn't posting any photos of customers using their products, there's no tagged photos there, there's no evidence that anyone has ever purchased from this brand and received the product, that evidence does not exist, right? You go on their website and there's no reviews, which is a whole nother video. But the point what I'm getting at is that these different things that you want to look at, these reviews, the tagged photos, the customer photos, those are proof points. They're things which give your brand credibility. So as a small brand on Instagram, if you don't have a huge following, it's really important that you are showcasing your customers in your products in order to install trust in people landing on your page. So the main way, there's a few different ways you can do it, and I've mentioned some of them already, but making sure that your tagged photos are turned on and that you're encouraging people to tag you when they upload photos of your products. Another way to do it is to, you know, work with influencers so that you've got influencers showcasing your product. I like to find that the most successful way that I do it is by encouraging people to tag me in their stories and then saving these stories onto a highlight. So on my Raya London account, it's called As Seen On. And on my Lilo London swim account, it's just got those like eyes, you know, those like, how do you even do that? You know, the emoji with like the eyes like popping out your head. It has that. And the little emoticon says spotted, right? So what I basically do, I can't believe I've just done that on camera. So what I basically do is save any photo from an influencer, from a customer, from anyone who is using my product in that photo, and I save it to that highlight so that anyone who lands on my page for the first time, they can click on that highlight and just see endless amount of photos. You know, when you look at a story and it's got loads of tiny little bars at the top because there's so many photos on there, that's what they see. And immediately that installs trust. They're like, I mean, I can clearly see as I'm tapping through this person's Instagram highlight that tons of people have purchased their products and loads of people are happy with their products. Therefore, I have trust in them. If I like one of their items, I'm going to buy one. Okay, so another tip that I'm going to give you is to build relationships with your customers. So the reason why this one's so important is because, again, we're talking about small Instagram accounts or small businesses which might not have a huge following. We're talking about converting that following into customers. That's what you want. You don't want a whole page full of, you know, nosy, like, buggers. Is that the phrase, nosy buggers? That just sounds so like old school British, doesn't it? You nosy bugger. What you don't want is like a bunch of followers who are just nosy. They just want to sit there and just look at the different stuff that you're posting. Nobody needs those. We don't need those people in our lives. Those aren't people who we're trying to get on our Instagram page. We are trying to get people who like our products and want to purchase from us. So what you might do is that you might have a list of people who are following you already, and they have the potential to be customers, right? But you haven't nurtured the relationship with them. There are a bunch of different ways that you can do this. The first way is using interactive features on your Instagram stories. So using things like polls, open-ended questions, you know, when you use the question box, stuff like that, which allows you to build a deeper relationship with your customer. And this is powerful for quite a few different reasons. The first reason is that it helps boost your content on Instagram's algorithm because people are engaging with your content, and therefore Instagram thinks this is really valuable, so I'm going to push it up and more people are going to see it. So that's a clear benefit to that. Another benefit to it is that these types of engagement features give you a really unique opportunity to get to know your customer a bit more. Like, you know, ask them which product do they prefer. You know, ask them, you know, if you're about to drop a product, ask them, you know, which one would you like them to drop first? Ask them which colours you think are really in this season. Anything. You can be asking them such a range of different stuff, which really will help you build a deep relationship with them, but also gain some really good insight into what your customers want. Also, there's simple tricks like when you write captions, ensuring that not all of your captions are sales focused. Some of them are just conversational. Ask your followers questions and encourage them to write the answers in your captions. Again, this will help boost your posts on Instagram, but also it'll help you build a relationship with your customers as well, which is super valuable. Another key, and this is the last tip I'm gonna like end on, but it's linked in to the whole building a relationship with your customer point, and that is utilizing direct message. So this is especially important for service-based businesses. If you are looking to attract customers or clients and you are not using your direct messages, you are missing a trick. That is incredibly important for service-based companies, but it's also important for product-based companies. And it's a tactic that I've started to incorporate on my brands more often, and I'm seeing some really amazing results. So it could be something as simple as uploading a photo and saying, do you like this bag? DM me for a discount. I do that quite often. The reason why that works so well is it gets people into your inbox so you can start a dialogue with them. And also it tells Instagram's algorithm that you are actually friends with this person who's DMing you. And then your content is going to show up higher on that person's feed from now on. So you already know they're an engaged person and they like your products because they engaged with that caption. So now you're going to offer them a discount. They're probably going to purchase, but after all of that, they're also going to see your content more often because Instagram is going to now start to boost your content on their feed. I hope that made sense. Let me know if it didn't. But that's one reason why DMs are really, really powerful. But they're also just a great way to, you know, touch base with your customers and ask them what they like, what they enjoy. You know, when someone tags you in a photo, send them a DM and say, thanks so much for tagging our products. We hope you loved your dress or your bag or whatever. For people who are working in a service-based industry, your DMs are your opportunity to build a relationship with your clients. And at the end of the day, that is what's going to get you sales more than anything else. So that's why DMs are especially important for you. That is it from me today. I hope those tips were super, super useful. As I mentioned, I release content which is all about helping you level up your hustles. Whether you're a brand owner, whether you're an influencer, I'm here. I've got some tips for you. So if that sounds like stuff that you're interested in, which you must be because you made it through the video, please subscribe to my channel. I release content every week. I will see you on the next one.